Welcome to the Enterprise Advisory Show. I'm your host, Thabiso Florence Pape. Are you struggling with low sales performance? Don't despair. This episode shares some of the strategies that you can utilize to turn things around and improve your sales performance, starting with an effective sales strategy.
It is possibly the most critical thing. So sales strategy really starts right at the start, where you have a commercial strategy. The commercial strategy is informed by, of course, your business planning cycle, which is informed by the shareholders in terms of what sort of return they want from the business. Do they want a growth strategy where they're looking for 10xing the business, for argument's sake? You then have to go back and look at your commercial strategy and say, but hold on a second, I've got to acquire new customers, I've got to grow my existing customers, I've got to either look at the personal market, I've got to look at the commercial market. So you then start quantifying exactly how I'm going to now realize these shareholder targets and so forth that's been given to me. If I then see that I'm not going to be able to get enough business just from expanding the product holding of my existing customers, I then have to find a way how to now go and grow my customers a lot more. And then, of course, where are those type of clients located? What sources of clients do I have? Do I have the distribution to get to them? If I don't have that, that all forms part of my sales strategies, then to create the distribution, find those customers, reach those customers, and then, of course, do I have the right products and services at the right margins in order then to sell to those customers? If I don't have stock, I can't sell to the clients, even though I might have distribution. So your sales planning really takes all of those elements into consideration and then puts it in one cohesive plan where everybody knows exactly what they need to do, at what levels do they need to perform in order for you to realize those targets.
You must have those key intelligent questions. What gives our product the advantage? What gives our solutions the advantage? What actually differentiates us? Who are our best customers? Where do we find them? When we find them, what do we say, right? How many units are we aiming to sell, and how are we going to achieve that goal? Look into your sales revenues as well, the different channels. So how are we going to make money within that one business which you're running? What are the streams actually that can generate income for the business? So I really believe that a strategy will then help you in achieving and understanding those. So start working on your strategy as you're actually launching your business.
One way to track your sales progress is to set quantifiable targets for you and your team to work towards. How do you achieve this, you ask? Take a look.
So without targets, without budgets, how are you going to realize whether you're good, great, or terrible? Okay. Salespeople are driven by the achievement of goals and by targets. It's inherent in their DNA. If you don't have targets, what is the purpose for you to come into your organization that day? What is that sense of purpose to go and look for that customer that you can sell to? Those sales targets that get given to every single salesperson really determines the pace at which they're going to work, and it's going to determine how they could be rewarded. There could be commissions linked to that.
The setting of goals will definitely help you in driving the right revenues for the business. The goal for this month is to make X, number of sales, which will bring X revenue for the business, and this is my strategy to actually achieve that. I will need to sign up 5 new clients. For me to sign up 5 new clients, I'll need to possibly speak to, if we were to actually, do the numbers quickly, speak to 10, at least 3 will show interest, then you'll close 1, right? So maybe you want to work on those numbers as well. I'm seeing a lot of people have the expectation that for them to actually close 5 clients, they must speak to 5 clients. And it doesn't work like that, right? It can happen like that, I don't know, once in a while, maybe that's your lucky month or something like that, but it doesn't work like that. For you to actually get to those numbers, you have to know what the ratio is.
And at the end of the day, that's going to be the determinant whether your organization is either going to grow or it's going to lose market share. So that sales target that's then put in place in its base form is a key driver of performance success in an organization. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's a lot of metrics that can be done. Using the balanced scorecard methodology is potentially the best way of doing it, where those targets are put across your people, your process, your customer, and your finance. And they all synergize in order to make your profit for your organization at the end of the day. Yeah.
Let's explore how your level of confidence will ultimately influence customers to buy your product or service.
I've learned and found out that confidence is you understanding your product, right? So if you don't understand your product, that's when you're gonna be, wishy-washy and you're not certain about what you're selling. So taking the time and understanding your product, you being the product and living the brand, allows you to be confident. You're not gonna sideline me and catch me in the middle of the night and ask me about this business and I'm not well equipped. I am the business, I live the business. So in me doing that, the confidence is always there. So it's very important, especially when you're speaking to new customers and consumers, to show that confidence and understanding of your product, because you have to convince me. And if you're not convinced in your product, then you are not confident enough in your product, I'm not gonna buy into it.
You must be knowledgeable about two worlds. You must be knowledgeable about your world in terms of what you do. You must be knowledgeable about your customer's world in terms of what they do. You must actually become an expert. And it's quite interesting, because then someone asked the question to say, if I'm selling to multiple clients, does it mean I have to know everything that they do? Each different client, if you say, and the answer is yes.
And that's where you are going to become confident, and essentially it's easier to have certain conversations and people kind of receive you well, because you're not overselling. It's more of, oh man, this guy is smooth. They understand what they're talking about. So it's very important, but not too confident, but subtle confidence is beautiful.
How do you effectively articulate your value to your potential client?
So when you're doing it on a one-to-one basis, there's a thing called the sales cycle that you start with. And it starts with building rapport with the person, so earning your trust in having a conversation with me around your very personal needs. Because if you think about it, when you're dealing with a salesperson, you're sharing your personal information of what you like and what you don't like, and what you need and what you don't need. And if I can't ask you in a way that's respectful to you, and you give me that information, how can I establish your need? Okay, and if I don't establish your need, how am I going to sell to you from that point of view? But once I've established what your true need is, I can then see how my product and solution can benefit you. Not what the features are. Every product has features, but what's important for me is to show you how my product will benefit you. And once we've established that, it's for me to understand what is your affordability. So can you afford the services and the products which I'm selling to you? If you can't, let's have a look at how we can structure the deal slightly differently so that you can. So there's a lot of technique involved, a lot of process involved in order to do the sales cycle in a way that respects your client and gives value to your client at the end of the day.
If I'm selling an edutech platform, right? I'm gonna say, hey, understand that you have children. Do you find yourself, getting a tutor where you're paying 300 pula a session with this tutor? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Here's this beautiful product that we've come up with that's gonna cost you 100 pula a month, and basically your child is gonna get access to all these subjects and it's gonna help them, So I think, showing how this applies to them in terms of adding value is very important. So you need to be able to highlight all of those things to your customers' life.
People want to relate. First of all, they want to know that they are not in this alone. So the minute you share with them that we've worked with a similar client, it means, okay, so you understand our world because you've done this before. It could be a client in insurance, right? And they're also in insurance. So if you actually demonstrate that you've got the capability, you've worked with a client in insurance in the past who was actually going through a similar challenge, and you've helped them overcome that challenge. Maybe we don't want to go into detail in terms of what they were struggling with, because these are many times rivals, right? So we could be sharing trade secrets here. So there must just be that fine line in there in terms of how far we can go.
Oftentimes, clients refer to our price as too high. How do we respond to this? Do we justify our price, or do we lower our price just so that we can make a sale?
Do you think people have a problem with paying? And the answer is interesting, because it's both yes and no. No. Most people don't have a problem with paying. Yeah, right? If they understand what they're paying for. And the answer is yes. Most people have a problem with paying if they don't understand what they are paying for. Whatever you are wearing right now, was there nothing cheaper? Right? So your shoes, how much did you pay for your shoes? Is it because they were not cheaper shoes that you could have went for? And the answer is, yeah, they were cheaper shoes, but I wanted these ones because I like the brand, because they're good quality, because I like how they will, I like how they will look on this certain outfit, all this type of things. So people don't have a price problem. It just depends what they're paying for.
There's a simple saying, don't ask, don't guess. So people will always try to challenge you on price, because nothing makes a person feel good as being able to get a discount or a little bit of something back for free. But there's also another side to it. If I go into sale knowing that you're not going to buy because my product is priced highly, and I suddenly discount it at the end by 50% because you're challenging me on price, I lose my credibility. Okay, so discounting price is not always your best strategy. Rather go in with a price that is fairly balanced for the client, that the client will see as fair value. Make sure that you look at your benefits, that you've got strong benefits that you can sell to the client. Demonstrate the value that they're getting and why that value is comparable. You might match it with your competitor's product to say, you know what, a similar product as mine in the market could be, you could pay up to X amount more. But for my product, I've given you this value. You could also throw in extras into your product. Instead of discounting, you could say, all right, let me add this to my product for you as a gesture of goodwill for you. So there's different ways you can work around it without just necessarily discounting your price. I don't like discounting because it's saying that you feel you're not good enough or your product's not good enough. Have the courage to believe in yourself and your product.
It could be this might not be your customer. A lot of the time you take the time to create a beautiful product, and you layer it with so many value offerings. And in you layering so many value offerings, it means it comes at a cost. You are running a business and you are allowed to make a profit. So in you layering all of those value offerings, the cost goes up, and your customer needs to be able to see the value in that. Not every customer is your customer. So at times you might find that you're selling to someone and this is a perfect product, they need it, and they tell you, nah, it's too expensive. And you're still trying to convince this person that, hey, this is something you need. But they actually told you that I'm not your target market, it's too expensive, it's not for me. So I think listening to the customer and allowing yourself to understand that not every customer is your customer could save you a lot of time and money.